So this is my wife's Subaru, and I'm going to do an oil change on it. I normally wouldn't do a video for just an oil change, but there are some things I like about what Subaru has done with making maintenance easier, so I'm just going to point those out. Okay, one of the nice things that I like that Subaru did is most cars nowadays have this cover underneath the engine and such, and it's for aerodynamics. What Subaru did that's nice, there's a hole there. Let's see if I can turn the light on. And there's your oil drain plug. So, unlike the Ford, I'm trying to think of the model of it now. It'll come to me. I just had it. But the Ford that my wife had prior to this car, you had to take this entire piece off just to change the oil and filter. Okay, but this, it left a nice hole for you to access the drain plug. And it's a 17 millimeter. You do need an extension, but compared to having to remove the entire aerodynamic shield, this is a piece of cake. I love it. Thank you, Subaru. So taking out the drain plug, and you need about a 6-inch minimum on the extension, but I can't get up there to, you can see the oil just draining out right there. Can't really get to see the drain hole because my drain pan is in the way, which is a good thing. Okay, I remembered it was my wife's car was a Ford Focus, and it was a pain to do the oil. I mean, I did in 30 seconds what it took me 15 minutes to do, and then you had to put it back on. Okay, that appears to be done dripping, so it's time to put the plug back in. Move this out of the way. I guess I can't get it all the way out of the way, but the plug's going to go back in. I guess they could have made this a little bit bigger for someone that has really big hands. I don't have exceptionally big hands, but it plugs in. I'm going to get my catch pan out of the way. I always forget how to operate this. Move that out of the way, tighten it. I'm going to try this with my shorter extension just to prove that it can be done with what looks to be a 6-inch extension. Oil's drained. Have to change the filter now. How am I going to get to the filter? Because you can't see it with that aerodynamic piece in the way. I'll be back in a bit and show you where it is. I didn't mention it, but I'm also rotating the tires on the Subaru. This is a 2024, by the way. And I just found another thing that I really like about Subaru. This lug nut is a solid metal lug nut. It doesn't have that, I guess it's aluminum shield on it. It's a chrome lug nut all the way. Those ones with the little shield on it, they tend to swell up. The impact wrenches or even maybe a manual wrench gets them out of shape, and if you don't get your socket all the way on, you can bend half of it. And I find that every car I've had those on, I've needed to replace them. And last week I was watching one of Rain Man Ray's videos, and he had a customer come in where the dealer wanted to charge $766, I believe it was, to replace 20 lug nuts. It's ridiculous. So this is a really nice plus for what Subaru's doing. Okay, I always check the brakes whenever the brake linings, the thickness of the pads, when I do a tire rotation. So one thing Subaru didn't get quite right is they made it really hard to see the inboard brake pad. However, they did put a wear sensor on it that's supposed to make noise whenever it gets down to that wear sensor, so maybe it's okay. Okay, I've got the tires rotated. It's time to tighten them. I have a torque limiting stick. I have a 1,400 foot-pound Milwaukee fuel impact driver. I need to brace this with my other hand to keep it from tearing up my shoulder because it's got so much torque. The first bolt is going to pull the wheel in, so I'm going to go around and do that one the second time, but you don't need to beat on it, just now, of course, how much you have to beat on it might depend on what kind of a wrench you're putting on it. Impact wrench, I should say. And by the way, this is a 90-pound stick and they call for 100 pounds, so I didn't want to over torque it. I will finish it off with a torque wrench. After I get it down on the ground, or down on the ramps to the lift. Okay, I've set my, hopefully you can see that, but I've set my torque wrench to 100 foot-pounds. I'm going to torque them in a star pattern. We'll see how well 90 foot-pound. See, 90 foot-pound with that torque limiter, you're already clicking at 100. No movement. So I'm glad I went with to 90. Maybe next time I should make a note to try 80 and see how that works. I don't want to stretch these studs. But I'll go around to the rest of the wheels and finish those up. So we've got the hood of the Subaru open. What I wanted to show was how nice and accessible everything is. That's the hood in general. Master cylinder for the brake fluid. I'm going to zoom over there. Air cleaner. I just popped those clips off and looked at it. That air cleaner is absolutely clean. This car doesn't have many miles on it. But then over in here, the battery is easy to access. The Ford my wife had before this, it was tucked in behind where the master cylinder is, and you actually had to remove some other stuff to get to it. This, it's right here. Disconnect it, loosen the hold downs, and pick it up. Windshield washer fluid, oil filter, coolant, dipstick. I don't know if I have it so you can see the dipstick, but it's right out in the open as well. Oh yeah, you could probably see where I was pointing. But everything is good. But today we're focused on the oil and oil filter, and I have a K&N filter on there. The reason I like them, and I've gone to using them almost exclusively, is because if you get the HP ones, the high performance, they have this nice little hex head, 1 inch. You can put a socket or a wrench on it, take it off. And when you take it off, because it's upside down, it is empty. Looks like the seal came out of there. Thinking the new one's going to have a seal in it, but I'm not going to throw that away just yet. I'm going to go get the new filter. So the seal does come with it. And when I took this out of the box, I'm not going to pull it out because it was a little bit difficult to get in. But when I took it out of the box, it was just sitting in the bottom of the box. So I forgot to turn the camera on to show you me pushing it in. I'm going to go get some oil and lube this up and install it. Okay, all lubed up. Ready to put it in. Gotta get rid of that old seal. Yeah, that's in contact with the base. Get myself a reference point. There's a label on that to get 3/4 to 1 turn after contact. a little bit hard to get it at my age, to get it that far without a tool, so that nut comes in handy. Again, reinstalling it. It is a little cramped in there. It's hard to get a grip on it. It's a small filter. But like I said, that's why I buy the ones that have the that's nearly one turn right there. So oil goes in here. And again, I don't have the hand strength that I had in my youth. But clearly marked 0W20. It doesn't say synthetic, but that's what it's called for. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not done 4 quarts of 0W20. I'm not going to show you doing that. No reason to have you see if I spill any. But that'll be a wrap, other than filling up the windshield washer fluid, and I can already tell the other fluids are fine. So that's going to be a wrap for this video in case I ever run up against something else. Thanks for watching. So as part of rotating the tires on the wife's Subaru, one of the things I always do is check the air. They needed a few pounds, and when I went to put air in it and I turned the control knob on my compressor, nothing happened. It wasn't letting air go to the hose. There was air in the tank, so I have bought a new valve assembly for the regulator there. I'm going to put that on in another video, but I wanted to mention, after all the things I said that Subaru had done well, one of the things that they did poorly, I might add, is they put the small spare tire in the bottom of the trunk like most manufacturers do, and instead of like most manufacturers usually put the jack underneath the spare, and then the spare is in the trunk and you can get to the valve to fill the air, because that's part of what I do every time I put air in the tires. I make sure that my spare donut tire in the trunk is inflated. Well, what Subaru did is they put the valve stem facing down, so you can't get at it unless you take the tire out of the trunk. They put the jack up on top in a piece of seemed like a foam board or something that is in the trunk and sits on top of the spare. Why you need the jack accessible before you get the tire out is beyond me, because I wouldn't use one of those jacks that the manufacturers supply to you to do anything but change a tire on the side of the road in an emergency. But so I wanted to mention that in this little clip so that I can put it in the clip that I have for doing the oil change and tire rotation on the Subaru. But I will make another video on changing this particular valve, because on the internet I noticed there's a lot of things out there, but none of them cover the Husky. So I'm going to make a video for that.